This is our 2016 flood-damaged Range Rover Sport. In the last episode, we actually managed to drive it. But even though we managed to drive it, not everything went well. When I got back from the drive, I could smell burning coming from the front of the engine bay. I went ahead and scanned it with our scan tool, and it looks like we might have burnt out one of the electric cooling pumps. So today I want to address that cooling issue and check the oil, because you can't do that until the engine's warm. Put back in as many of these trim pieces as possible. See if we can remove these tail light lenses and see if we can fix up all the mold that's gotten trapped inside of both of them. This one is actually a lot worse than the other one. Then we're gonna get access to the airbag module, which is underneath this whole center console, all to get a safety check done because it's water damaged. Last time I did this, there was a spider, and I'm pretty sure there's another one underneath. Look at how big he is. These are the random trims that we're gonna put back in, and all of the door cards as well aren't in properly, so I'm gonna go through and do all of them now. So because I haven't taken these door cards off before, I took them off just to check that everything behind them was actually alright, plugged in, no corrosion was there, and then tightened the bolts back up to put them back on. This back right hand door wasn't opening with the latch on the inside. The door handle cable just wasn't attached, so we got that all fixed up, then clipped it back in. Passenger seat was just missing this bit of trim that goes on the outside, and there was just a couple of trim pieces in the front that had to go in. Next up are the LED side steps. Pretty sure these side steps that glow are next. Only thing is, on the bottom side here, it does look like we've got a little bit of rust. So what I'm gonna do is just clean them up as best I can with a bit of steel wool, and then just spray some primer over it. And look, it might not get rid of all of it, but it should be a lot better. So I started off using that bit of steel wool that I just showed you, but very quickly I began to realize that this was going to take forever, and switched over to using the drill with a bit of a wire bit at the end of it, and that just started to get through it way faster. So here's what it looked like before, and here's what it looked like all cleaned up. After that, I sprayed on some primer to everything just to make sure that it wasn't going to rust again, and that there was something actually covering it. Now this is all dry. Go ahead and put them all in. Now, if you didn't know, my name's Jeremy Rowe, and I am rebuilding cars until we get a supercar. If you'd like to follow along for the journey, subscribe and hit the bell notifications, because this is the very first car that we're flipping for profit. As the Range Rover gets closer and closer to being finished, I'm going to upload a video explaining how much everything cost me, what we sell it for, what profit we made, and how far away we are from a supercar. Now that we got most of the interior in, we're gonna get these bench seats actually in and secured, but I actually made a mistake. On the other side, I ripped out these white pieces out of these sockets. It looks like you press down on both sides of that and then push this out, but there's actually a way simpler way to do it. And this one I actually didn't take off. This double seat I didn't take off. But you can see the assessors actually had a hard time with it too. So I'm going to use this and sort of just, not a big deal at all, I'll keep it that. But the way you actually do this is, see this black thing here? You actually just pull that, and then that white bit unlatches straight from this hook. So kind of funny, but hey, at least whoever else has been in to look at this had the exact same problem that I did. And after putting the seats in and the little covers that go over the bolts in the seats, everything was together. This is the first time the entire car's been together since I've had it. These seats are very far forward. Battery's off, so I can't push them back just yet. Now that that interior is in, we've got another relatively big thing to tackle, and that's these taillights. These are about $600 each. So I'm going to try and save these by pulling them out and then taking the actual lens part off only. Now there's a good chance that I've ruined them because of this black stuff here. I have a feeling that if I pry it all off, I'm going to put scratch marks in the black, which means instead of using these same lenses, I'd essentially have to buy new ones to put on, and that will take some time. That is also an AliExpress possibility. I've never bought lenses from AliExpress, so I don't know how that would turn out, but hey, worth a try anyway. Let's get them off and see what we can do. So very first thing, you got to take that seal off, and then there's some covers that sit just in front of the bolts for the tail lights. It looks like I'm struggling here, but really it's old and brittle, and I'm just trying to be really careful because I don't want it to break and buy another one. Once I got the headlights off, we're going to use the cheapest heat gun possible, heat up all around the side of here where there's going to be some bonding agent between the lens and the housing, and then we're going to use various pry tools to be able to get the lens off. This may work, this may not work. If it doesn't work, we can order for about 200 bucks on AliExpress some new lenses, so then we don't have to worry about keeping these intact. Or the alternative is we could spend double that, 400 bucks, and then get like a set of upgraded tail lights also from AliExpress. But honestly, these feel like really cheap and plastic anyway, so I wouldn't be too worried about replacing them with like an AliExpress part for that. I have taken many headlight and tail light lenses apart, but it was pretty clear straight away that this was going to be a little bit different to them. Yes, the sealant holding them together wasn't the strongest, but the way it was bonded together made it really hard to pull away from the housing without accidentally breaking something. And that was a problem because $200 to replace the lenses, or $450, not $400, to replace the whole tail lights. In the end, I just made my peace with it and pulled them off. When this happens, it's not the cheapest scenario, but we do get to upgrade them now, so... Well, let's have a look at some aftermarket tail lights and see what they're gonna cost. Okay, so bear with me a little bit, but last time when we drove this car, we got some fault codes and we saw some smoke. The smoke was coming from sort of this area in the engine bay, and the fault codes we saw were related to the charge cooler electric auxiliary coolant pump. Now, originally I thought that this might have been an airlock. What we're going to do is we're going to use the Autel and try and turn that pump on manually, feel it, see if it's turning or if it's trying to turning or if it smokes again, and sort of fault find from there. I think it's worth trying to bleed the cooling system, because if that works, that's going to be the cheapest option. But if that doesn't work, and if we try and use the Autel and it doesn't work and it doesn't turn on, then we're gonna have to replace it, and that's another about $200-ish. I did end up buying from AliExpress some upgraded ones. There should just be a direct replacement. I could have bought the lenses for a little bit cheaper, but I wasn't exactly sure how they were gonna stick on and seal, and it's just not a lot of fun. So they were $450. They'll be arriving soon, but while we wait for them, let's try and fix the cooling system. And the coolant pump in question is actually this pump down there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. To start off, I went into the hot functions on the Autel to see if I could manually turn on that auxiliary water pump, but there wasn't an option for it. So I skipped it, went down to Bunnings, grabbed some screwdrivers, and there's 3 different bleed valves for the cooling system. One just here that sits right above the charge cooler in question, one at the back of the engine, and then another one on the coolant expansion tank just here. So I guess we're going to try and start it now and bleed it and see how we go. So after letting the car heat up, I went ahead and bled all 3 spots for the cooling and rescanned the car to check whether or not it was coming back. And we made sure the oil level was alright. Thank God. It is just a steady stream of water coming out, so I mean it is bled properly, which it's for what I was hoping was the problem. That's really not that great. Yeah, so scanning it again, the PCM one's the one we're worried about, and that hasn't come back. So yeah, we'll just, I guess, do it again until we see it. But no matter how much I tried or how long I let the car run, I just couldn't replicate that smoke that we saw on the first night. So for now, we're gonna tick that off and it's time to move on. But as you'll see, that didn't happen as fast as I thought. Okay, so that last clip was taken nearly 3 weeks ago. Now, partly that is because I was waiting for the new tail lights that are currently sitting disassembled on the floor. Mostly just because I've been lazy and unmotivated. It's currently January 2nd. January the 28th is when this thing is booked in for its final check, the written off vehicle inspection, and it needs to pass that. If it passes that, we can put it back on the road, register it, and start driving it. Before that, it needs a special water damage report. I'm gonna try and get the water damage report done this weekend because the center console needs to come out. The airbag module, which needs to be checked for rust, is underneath this, which means most of this has to come off. The second thing, and at least the more exciting thing, is we have new tail lights. I'll show you them. These are the new tail lights. This is what the normal one looked like, and this one, which I think might be the SVR model, I'm not really sure, it just looks better. Like most things, it took me a little bit longer to put the tail lights back in. That looks pretty cool. But once they were in, they were looking damn good. And here's what they look like with the brake lights on and the hazards. Okay, that actually looked really fucking cool. It's time to tackle the center console, get it all out. Most of it is out. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but I have taken the back completely off. Don't know if I needed to do that, but the bottom of it was loose, so probably a good thing. I can fix that up now anyway. Here, I've taken all the trims off. I don't think I need to take the armrest out, just the top here. And I'm gonna take this side piece out because I believe I might be able to get access to the airbag module from here. There's just a bunch of screws in the top holding this thing in. Let's give it a go. As soon as I pulled both the side panels off, I actually found something. Just found someone's Dan Murphy's card. And their name, oh my gosh. We'll come back to that though. I thought I might be able to get into the module from the side. I don't know, maybe the European ones. There seems to be an opening here to allow you access to it. On this one, for whatever reason, it's all covered up and this big skeleton has to be taken out. So I went ahead and undid 6 bolts that were holding this exoskeleton to the chassis of the car. And once they were undone, I pulled up the back of it to give it a bit of a wiggle, pop it out of place. Then I could pull the front of it up and you could see the airbag module right here. It was a tight fit. I didn't film the rest because it was really difficult to get to, but I did get it out. So the Dan Murphy's car. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty curious where this car's come from, and this has a name on the back of it. So I might have found somebody who lives quite close, an older woman. Hello, random, but I recently purchased a Range Rover Sport from the auctions. It's 12:22 a.m. at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. This is the airbag module. We're gonna open it up, 4 bolts on the back, check it, make sure there's no corrosion inside. Then we're gonna take it to the local mechanic, get him to use his scan tool to check the airbag system so we can have a receipt saying that the airbag and restraint system is all good. At that point, we can take it for its written off vehicle inspection. Whoa. The bottom of it is fine. I don't want to pull on it too much for fear of breaking it, but because there is no sign of corrosion or anything underneath, I'm going to assume that the top side of it is corrosion free. The bottom side sitting closer to the ground, probably going to see corrosion on the bottom side before you see it on the top side. Now, if you haven't already noticed, oh look, cat. She wants a pat. If you haven't already noticed, we are rebuilding cars until I get a supercar. This is the very first car that I'm going to try and sell for a profit on the sort of journey to doing that. Now, I probably have spent a little bit more on this car than I should. We're probably maybe only going to make a small profit. I really don't know. But as soon as this car's done, I've got another one lined up that I have to travel interstate to go and get. Also, my partner did buy a wide body kit for this car that we wrapped that is currently sitting in the office. But this has to get done at some point. We're gonna have to get new wheels, tires, suspension, some sort of coilover. If you want to contribute to rebuilding cars until I get a supercar, all of the YouTube revenue actually does count towards the goals. So all you have to do is like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things, and that's going to help me out tremendously. And not only that, it will directly impact us getting a supercar. All right, I've just had the car scanned down at the local mechanics to essentially show the written off vehicle inspectors that the restraint system, the airbags, the seat belts, and the airbag module are all in working order and that there's no fault codes. But now I'm actually thinking about doing something a little bit different, maybe. Let's go wash it first and then talk about what I'm thinking. All right, we're looking much better now that this thing's washed. The whole spirit of this, like rebuilding cars until I get a supercar, is to try and make a bit of profit at each bit of the way. And as you can see, the car looks pretty good now. This thing is not crash damaged, so you know, when you're walking around it, they're really, like, the body's fine, the suspension's fine. We've got the new taillights because the other ones were moldy. I've replaced the amplifier that was under the passenger seat, and just overall, like, I mean, it looks pretty clean. It's been driving fine. Sound system works. Everything seems to be working now. The next sort of steps for this thing would be to get a roadworthy certificate and then take it for its written off vehicle inspection. I do have the written off vehicle inspection booked for the 28th of January. It is currently the 10th of Jan. But what I'm thinking we do now is we actually list it for sale a little bit earlier. My reason for thinking this is to get this thing registered, we're gonna have to spend at least $1,000 more. But if somebody's willing to spend a little bit on this and, you know, I get to make a bit of profit out of it already, then I don't think there's any harm in giving that a go. So for the time being, this thing is going up for sale. I'm taking some photos now. And if we sell it and make a little bit of money, great. If not a big stress. We'll still fix it. We'll take it for its written off vehicle inspection, register it. I'll probably drive it around for a week or two and list it for sale as fully registered, ready for somebody to come and pick up. Let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.